Well, welcome everyone. Welcome back to another month's Crystal Conversation with me. I'm Mary Jo Feely. I'm the owner of Fourth Dimension Healing in Stillwater, Minnesota, which is my energy and crystal healing practice. I also offer light language and mentoring sessions as well. And so perhaps you have explored a little bit about me. If not, you'll find the link below this YouTube video. Also, I am the director of the Center for Crystal and Healing Studies, which is my online school. And through my school, I offer a variety of courses, work in energy healing, crystal healing, Reiki. I offer free mini courses. I have some free ebooks that you're able to download for yourself, as well as some paid coursework that takes you deeper into energy healing, crystal healing, as well as my Crystal Healer certification program. And additionally, I am the host of the Ask, Learn, Heal podcast. Now, this podcast is one that I've created where I offer information and insights and thoughts that help provoke you perhaps in leaning into some of those areas in your life where healing is inviting you to venture. And my podcasts are typically going to be related to energy healing, crystal healing, self-care, and all of them include guided meditations. So if you haven't had a chance to take a look at that, again, the links for my school and my podcast are also below this video. Well, if you are joining me for the very first time, welcome. This is an opportunity for me to explore questions that have been submitted over the course of the month, and I then tease out aspects of those questions to help answer them. I gather a variety of different gemstones and crystals to help with my conversation and my exploration into the questions. Last month, there were a couple things that I wanted to follow up with. And if you haven't seen last month's video, that would be April of 2024, I would encourage you to take a peek at it, particularly towards the end of last month when we had a question that was asking how to create crystal grids. And I actually walked through the process. And the grid that is actually right here is the same grid that I created, that we all created last month. And as I mentioned last month, this grid has sat exactly where I left it, where we left it. And every day I have come in, and this is my home office, where I have come in and reactivated the grid because the intention we placed within this grid was one of helping to support the Earth's balancing of its weather patterns. And really, ultimately, through the course of the development of this crystal grid, we ultimately, of course, are supporting the healing of the planet, the healing of all beings on the planet. So here's the grid. Just to remind you, we started with amethyst in the center, and then we worked with bloodstone and black tourmaline in that kind of that center ring, and then we alternated phrenite and serpentine around the outside. Almost all of those stones are stones that resonate with Earth, which really is interesting because we are nurturing the Earth and the Earth nurtures us, and so there is very much a mutual care that takes place. So I'm going to continue to let this grid sit here. I am actually going to slide it a little bit out of the way so I don't inadvertently bump it. And then later on, after we're done with this month's live stream, I will go ahead and take this apart, cleanse those stones, and then they will be ready to be worked with for perhaps another grid or for other healing uses. Now, also in reference to last month, there was one question we did not get a chance to explore. I did reach out to that person and shared with them the answers to their question. And so now I'm going to offer this to the entire group. And this was the question: should I start with the crystals I need, or is there a starter kit good for everyone? I get asked questions like this a great deal because it can be overwhelming when we have so many crystals and gemstones to choose from. I'm going to slide this grid over here again for just a minute. Just even looking at the grids that we worked with last month and that we've just talked about briefly, there are lots there. So it may be hard to know what to work with. Out of that need for some clarification and for some guidance, I've actually created crystal toolkits. And I have 3 different toolkits, really depending upon what a person might be looking for, what a person's budget might be able to handle. Because when we start collecting a lot of gemstones and crystals, we put a commitment towards that. And it could be that it takes a little while to build your toolkit to where you would ideally like to see it. So I thought what I would do is share with you what I have gathered together as some stones that I think are really helpful, and they really have a wide encompassing selection of and variety of healing properties. And so by the time we're done taking a look at the 5, then the 10, and then the 15, I think you'll get a sense of how each one of those can be very efficient and effective, and sometimes having less is what you're looking for. Sometimes having a larger collection is what you're looking for. So in my 5-piece toolkit set, there are stones that are going to be supporting the work that you do within your energy system, which means balancing your chakras, clearing your energy field, and addressing the body, mind, spirit. Or another way perhaps of saying it would be physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual aspects of your life, because all of those interconnect and intersect all the time. So in this 5-piece toolkit set, so again, if you are like this person looking for a starter kit, this could be a great way to start. A piece of, actually, let me grab this one first. This is a piece of shungite. Shungite is a particular form of carbon that is very effective in grounding, very effective in clearing the electromagnetic field. Very important work when we are working with healing any part of our energy field, but particularly our physical body. And so shungite would be a great stone. Now, as I talk about some of these stones, you may have some of these crystals and gemstones already. Just make note of which ones I'm talking about, and perhaps you learn something new about them. Carnelian is a stone that is really helpful and effective in supporting this kind of activating, fiery, motivating, creative kind of energy that moves throughout our energy field in our body. And in the Northern Hemisphere, it's summer. Well, all of summer, it's spring, soon to be summer. So we've got that natural kind of inflow of light, sunshine, activity. We see plants and flowers and weeds growing everywhere. And so that's it again. We can take a look at what is going on within our environment, what's going on within our climate, what is going on seasonally to help guide some of what's going on within our own healing that's taking place within us. So shungite and carnelian. Rose quartz is in this 5-piece set. This is a beautiful stone to support the heart chakra. Sometimes when we are stepping into taking care of ourselves, slowing down and pausing enough to really embrace the nurturing that we know deep down we need, sometimes it's really hard. And rose quartz, if a stone could give us permission to do that, I would say that could be perhaps one of the blessings and offerings that rose quartz offers us. This sense of it's okay to nurture ourselves, it's okay to spend some time doing our own personal healing work, because actually when we do, it goes very well for us and others as well. So rose quartz would be something that I would say could be really helpful. I want you to notice we're kind of moving from that base root grounding chakra up through more of that fiery 2nd and 3rd chakra. And now we're moving kind of up into that heart space and moving a little bit into that throat space. And that again is what we can find happening with rose quartz. Then there's a piece of amethyst. Amethyst is a wonderful a type of quartz that is really effective when we are working in clearing our brain space, opening up to new insights and new ideas. And as we work with these gemstones, we can see that this one's going a little bit higher yet in our chakra column. We're talking brow and crown chakra. So that is included. And then also included in the 5-piece set is a piece of clear quartz rock crystal. Powerful stone, activates all of the chakras. It helps to clear the chakras. I believe we had a question last month about how to clear gemstones and crystals, and that is an option that you can work with for quartz. And I think that would have come up perhaps last month. I also have other videos, and in YouTube, there's a search bar, and you can just type in what you might be curious about. Let's say it's about clear quartz. You can type that in, and it'll show you all the different videos where I address and speak about clear quartz. So that's a nice feature. So these are included in the 5-piece set, and these are all gemstones and crystals that are very accessible, very reasonably priced. So we're not, breaking the bank, so to speak, to create a beginning toolkit. Now, maybe you have some of these stones, and now you're looking at adding some more. I'm going to share with you what's in the 10, because what the 10 is these 5 plus 5 more. Now I bring in, if you remember, with this set, we were working base all the way up to the top of the head. Now I'm bringing that same process back. We're talking about black tourmaline. Very helpful for taking that cluttered and chaotic energy within our energy field and getting it reorganized. Certainly there's some of that will have to shift and clear, and it'll do that naturally as you do healing work. A lot of the times we just need to get our ducks in a row. We just need to get things realigned so that the energy flows appropriately. Black tourmaline is a great stone to work with. Tiger's eye is one of my favorite stones to work with. When we are working with those creative energies, and in the first set that I talked about, that was the carnelian, this kind of fiery energy for 2nd and 3rd chakra. Well, I love Tiger's eye. Tiger's eye draws earth energy up and it draws sun energy down. It's just this wonderful, strong stone. Again, you can see that as we build from one grouping to the next, that we're starting to have more options and slightly different healing properties that we can bring into the work that we're doing with the stones and crystals. Lepidolite is a wonderful stone to work with for softening the emotions, calming the emotions, calming that tight space, sometimes within our chest or within our heart or within our throat, where we're just feeling really stressed. In the West, we kind of just do this, and we lock up in our neck and our shoulders and our upper back and in our chest. And so that is a reminder for us that we are definitely doing work in this 4th and 5th chakra, and how are we welcoming in that ability to let our nervous system reset, that we can feel more calm and more centered. Lepidolite works wonderfully for that. Fluorite is a wonderful stone to clear, and I would say really it's a clearing stone when it comes to that mental clutter, because we can have a lot of extra thoughts going on in our mind. At least I do all the time. And so it can help just kind of clear away what isn't necessary. Sometimes I like to relate kind of like, how do we notice what we're supposed to notice and let things go that we don't need to pay particular attention to? And I sometimes relate that to driving. If you've ever driven on a freeway, especially the kind where there's a nice space between your lanes of traffic going one way and the other traffic coming from the other direction, and you've got that space, none of us even pay any attention to what's going on over in that other set of lanes, yet we can see them. We can notice them if we wanted to, but it's as if our brain is focusing on where we need to pay attention. I think of fluorite like that. Fluorite helps us kind of stay focused on where we need to notice and pay attention. And it could be that some of what we're supposed to be noticing is the things that we really need to work on for healing. And we are far more likely to not want to do that sometimes. Fluorite helps clear away that kind of a little bit of that mental confusion so that we are more present with what we are actually doing when it comes to healing and growing. The other stone I like to work with and that I included in the second set is indigo gabbro. Indigo gabbro is an important stone for helping to drop down spiritual insight and wisdom, and it affects and works with primarily the brow and the crown chakras. So you can see that by adding some different stones that have similar overall properties, yet quite different nuances. This is where the beauty of working with a variety of stones and having a number of stones that you can go to can be really effective. Now, for some people, what they really want to do is do a deep dive into crystal healing. They want to have some options. They want to have some grounding gemstone options. They want to have some stones that vary a bit when it comes to supporting some of the other chakras. So I have added in my 15-piece set 5 more stones. And again, this is about helping you understand also some of the qualities and properties of these stones, because, and this would be perhaps good for you if you've got some of these stones to replay this section a few times, make note. Maybe you have 8 of the 10 stones I just talked with you about. Then what you can do is take a look at those and perhaps start working with them in new ways. Maybe you have no stones and you're trying to answer or get the question answered, like this person is saying, like, what do I need? Is there a starter kit? How does this work? The final 5 stones that I add to the 15-piece set are, again, stones that are going to be working ground up. They are not as, they're readily available, but they are not quite as economical as the beginning sets, because sometimes we start at the beginning, at least I did, when I first started working on crystals healing, I really worked a lot with the stones that were very reasonably priced, affordable, and able to support my healing work. And slowly I added more and more and more. So this last set, again, starts down with that root chakra, and it starts with a piece of ruby. So ruby is this very strong stone that connects with that vital life force energy of the earth, drawing it up. So that would be what I could say would be really helpful. Then we have malachite. While malachite is green, and often we'll think of the heart chakra with this little hanging I have behind me, being associated with green, and it is. This is a very fiery, creative kind of stone, and so it can help with dreaming dreams and manifesting. And by manifesting, I'm not suggesting that we can just hold a piece of malachite and then something fabulous that we want is going to drop into our lap. Manifestation actually doesn't work like that. However, it connects with the creative energies of that manifestation process and works with that second chakra, which is about creativity, and that third chakra, which is about empowerment. So if we're manifesting, working on developing and creating something, we have to feel empowered. That's where the malachite can be really helpful. Blue lace agate is a wonderful stone that supports this free flowing, releasing of the emotional body particularly. And a lot of times we hold a lot of our emotional pain, our grief, our loss, our shoulda, coulda, wouldas. We hold those very often in our heart space and sometimes in our throat. And so this is why I've added in the blue lace agate to be able to help clear that emotional aspect that shows up more in this part of our energy field. Lapis lazuli is a wonderful stone that connects with this higher insight and guidance, very much like I talked about the amethyst and the indigo gabbro. In my experience, lapis really works beautifully to bring that down into that heart chakra. And so I've included that. And then blue kyanite. blue kyanite is a stone that is very effective in balancing all of the chakras. It's very helpful for clearing out that energy field. And when we are working with crystal healing, we are looking at how do we balance our chakras? How do we work with our energy field? How do these stones, how can they help me with my headache or with my backache or with my tendency to overthink and worry or keep going back to something that happened a long time ago. So, depending on what it is that you are looking for healing purposes, you're going to be able to find different ways that gemstones and crystals can help you with that and support you. So that's answers the question that we didn't get to last month about a starter kit. Now, as I'm thinking about this starter kit, if you were to go out to my online school, the Center for Crystal and Healing Studies, if you haven't signed up, please do so. It's free. And the reason I really encourage you to do that is once you sign up, you can access my free mini courses. You can access my free ebooks, one of which is about crystal healing. And you can learn more details about these 15 stones. There's a reason why I have collected these and created these stones to come together to support crystal toolkits for people who are looking to do some really serious and intentional work with crystals. Okay, so go ahead and do that. And I also, through my online school, I have a dedicated private online community, which is a platform that is not public like some of the other social media platforms. It's a great place where you can get updates, be the first to know about certain things, ask questions, get answers, those sorts of things. So that if you want more information, go out to my online school, the links below this video, go ahead and sign up and then download that Crystal Healing free ebook. Okay, good. So you've heard me say it before. I love how these questions seem to just kind of move from one to the next. So this next question, I'm pulling a couple sets of stones here. And this question says, I'm just checking the chat. How can I align chakras with healing stones? Okay, so how can I align my chakras with healing stones? So I alluded a little bit to it as I was talking about the toolkits, and when we're talking about the chakras, we're talking about a 7 chakra model. There are many different ways to interpret the human energy field. The 7 chakra model is one that we're fairly familiar with in the West, and that's the one I tend to primarily talk with. I work with different models and experience different levels as well. However, this is really an easy way for us to be able to access the human energy field and get a sense of how it supports our healing. So behind me, again, we have the red, orange, yellow, green, and then blue and indigo and violet are up higher. You can't see that. So there are a couple approaches to how do we align chakras. And the first one is to work with the premise that we are going to work with stones whose colors resonate with those same colors as the chakras. So I pulled some stones to show you what that is. So the first stone, when we're thinking about red, and I want to reach over and show you the ruby again. So here is the ruby. Ruby is a wonderful stone because it pulls up this red revitalizing thread of energy, this vibrational wave of energy from the earth. Keep that in mind when we're working with root chakra and we're connecting with the earth and we're working with the colors of the spectrum. When it comes to which stones we're going to work with, we are working with stones that are going to be red. They might be black or brown, but for the purpose of this conversation, I want to stick with red. And there are different red stones that we can grab. But this is one I wanted to show you. This is almandine garnet. This is a larger piece. Does not need to be a large piece. It is a beautiful stone that connects deeply with the core of the earth and pulls up that nurturing, revitalizing energy. Here is another piece. And I often will work with stones about this size. These are beautiful. It's super easy to hold in your hand, slip in a pocket or a pouch, slip into a pillowcase. So working with a kind of stone like almandine garnet, where we have this really vital energy that it's connecting with, can be very helpful when we're working with that root chakra. And that root chakra is about strength, belonging, survival, protection, the sense of security. And if that's where you're feeling a little bit wobbly, you can go ahead and explore how to work with red stones. Then if we go up to the next chakra, the sacral chakra, we're going to be taking a look at orange stones. Here is a piece of sardonyx, which is a blend of onyx and carnelian. It's a beautiful, fiery, powerful stone that supports that creative kind of, I want to say, activating energy in that second chakra. So if that's an area where you're feeling like you want some support, need some support, working with an orange stone, it definitely could be carnelian. It could be an orange calcite. In this case, I wanted to bring a piece of the sardonyx for you to take a look at. When we are working with that second chakra, we are addressing emotional issues. And so it may be that you really are healing a lot of emotions and they're landing in that second chakra, and you're noticing that you're experiencing dis-ease or discomfort in that lower part of your abdomen. It could very much be aligned with that particular chakra. So working with an orange stone could be really helpful. As we move up into that third chakra, that power chakra, that center of identity and integrity, this is where we may very likely want to work with yellow stones when we're working with, again, the color system. So here is an example of a piece of yellow jasper. Jasper is very clearing, very nurturing stone. You know, when we are really standing in our power, or feeling powerless, or feeling like we just don't have the nerves to do something right, having that sense of being nurtured, even when we feel kind of wobbly about what we're doing, can be really helpful. And so working with a piece of yellow jasper can give you that support in that third chakra to nurture the healing that you're doing, okay? Then we can take a look at the heart chakra being green. I decided to show you a piece of green moss agate. Now, this particular piece, you can see a fair amount of some white quartz in there as well. It's still green moss agate. Ooh, this one has a couple little pockets. If you've heard me talk before, I really love those little spaces that invite us to go a little bit deeper into whatever is arising for us. So this green kind of stone definitely is going to support that heart chakra. I'd also like to offer for you that when we're talking about earth energy, and we talked about it with the almandine garnet and with the ruby, that it pulls this vital kind of red band of energy up, this vital energy, right? Well, earth also has a band, so to speak, or a frequency of a very nurturing green, deep green energy. And I think of like moss. I use that example a lot. It's just this nurturing, wrapping and rocking you and comforting you type of energy up from the earth. So when we're working with green stones, here we are working at the heart chakra, and yet this one also is connecting with earth energy and stabilizing some of the healing you're doing within your heart. So that would be an example. Here again at that throat chakra, blue. Now there are a lot of different blues. We could have a blue calcite. We could have a celestite. We could have quartz. Could have a piece of blue lace agate. We could have a piece of blue kyanite. Here we have lapis. Now this is the same lapis that previously we were talking about working up in this space, right? And when we are working with, oh, you can't see the blue, but trust me, it's up there. This can be really helpful with opening up that throat space, bringing in that color. We go higher up, it's indigo. And here again, indigo gabbro. And that actually was in the 10-piece set as well. You can see why I have some of these stones. They're popping up. They're showing up again and again. It could be that for you, maybe you have a piece of indigo gabbro at home and you haven't worked with it for a while. Maybe this is a reminder that you might want to see if it wants to work with you and if you want to work with it. Indigo gabbro, again, is going to connect up with this brow space, up in these upper chakras to bring in that insight and that clarity. And then the violet, when we get up high, here we have amethyst. The same amethyst we worked with earlier when we talked about the 5-piece toolkit set. So again, you can see that in the selection of stones that I have pulled together for my toolkit options, they all have opportunities to be able to align with the variety of chakras if we're looking at it from that color perspective, okay? Well, unfortunately, I just learned that the second half of our conversation this month did not record. That's not a problem. I will revisit those questions next month. For now, I want to just offer a quick recap. We took a look once again at the crystal grid that we started in April related to global and earth healing intentions. We answered the question and explored how to begin to create a crystal toolkit. And I offered examples of 3 different types of crystal toolkits that I offer and how it is that those stones can support the body, mind, spirit healing that you are moving through. We also began to answer a question related to how to work with crystals and gemstones to support balancing and aligning the chakras. And so we actually were able to get through like part A of that conversation, and the second part of that question and answer will follow next time. For now, I invite you to please take a look at the links below this video, reach out. If you have any questions, you can chat through my website or send me an email, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I would also encourage you to, if you haven't already, go ahead and sign up for my free online school, the Center for Crystal and Healing Studies, where you can access some mini courses and some ebooks, as well as check out some of my other courses that I offer. Finally, I want to make sure that if you haven't already checked out my podcast, the Ask, Learn, Heal podcast, to please do so, because you may very likely find something there that is able to help you and support you on your healing journey. For now, until we connect again, which will be sometime in July, I just haven't landed on a date yet, so please watch for that. I'll push that out here on my YouTube channel as well as on my website and through some social media sites as well, so watch for that. And until we connect again, I wish you many blessings. Be well.